Secretary of State Marco Rubio has stated that the US and Israeli air forces will defang the Iranian regime through increased attacks, weakening its military capabilities. Speaking at the US Capitol on March the 3rd, Rubio emphasized that the most powerful air forces in the world would dismantle Iran's ability to threaten its neighbors and pursue nuclear ambitions. Rubio highlighted that US forces would systematically target Iran's missile program, military factories, and navy. He also made it clear that the US would not wait to be struck first, prioritizing the safety of American troops. Let's listen in.
The timing, the president acted on the timing that gave us the highest chance of success. And that's what you're seeing play out right now. You're seeing it play out right now, and you'll see it in the days to come. We will systematically take apart their missile program. We will destroy their ability to sponsor terrorism, by the way. We will destroy their factories. We will destroy their navy. The president determined we were not going to get hit first. It's that simple, guys. We are not going to put Americans' troops in harm's way. If you tell the president of the United States that if we don't go first, we're going to have more people killed and more people injured, the president's going to go first. That's what he did. That's what the president will. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon.
Meanwhile, Rubio also confirmed that approximately 9,000 Americans had evacuated the Middle East since the start of the US-Israeli strikes on Iran, as Washington ramps up efforts to assist citizens seeking to leave the region. Let's listen in.
The State Department is now actively, as it has been now for the last 72 hours, implementing our plans to help Americans in the Middle East be able to depart. As of a few minutes ago before I left, 9,000 Americans have been able to leave the region since the start of this war. We have about 1,500 Americans that are requesting assistance with departure. We have identified and continue to identify charter flights, military flight options, and expanded commercial flight options, meaning working with the airlines to send bigger airplanes with more seats, and the combination of those three things. As I came in, I also saw the media reports about Dubai's consulate. The last update I had with seconds before getting before these cameras was that a drone unfortunately struck a parking lot adjacent to the Chancellery building and set off a fire in that place. All personnel are accounted for. As you're aware, we began drawing down personnel from our diplomatic facilities in advance of this. In the cases, for example, of Beirut, we basically drew down to bare bones, as well as in Baghdad and in Rubio and in a couple other posts as well. So we've been very fortunate, obviously, but our embassies and our diplomatic facilities are under direct attack from a terroristic regime.
At the same time, Iran's Revolutionary Guards has announced that they have complete control of the Strait of Hormuz, a critical shipping route for oil and gas. Mohammed Agzabadeh, a senior official with the Guards Navy, warned that any vessels attempting to pass through the waterway risk being damaged or missiles or drones. This come in as response to the US President Donald Trump's comments that the US Navy is ready to escort oil tankers through the strategic Gulf shipping route, ensuring safe passage amidst the rising tensions. We're now being joined by Dr. Asta Chadha. Thank you for joining us back here on NewsX World. In light of Iran's threats to attack any vessel attempting to transit the Strait of Hormuz and US and Israeli military pressures, what mechanisms exist to prevent further escalation into a wider Middle East war bigger than what we've seen right now?
Right. I mean, firstly, thank you for having me on NewsX. We just heard Marco Rubio explaining the US strategy, and looks like they've gone in phases. And after wiping out the supreme leadership in Iran, and after hurting their major infrastructures, mainly the ones focused on nuclear research or ballistic missile development. They are now onto shifting their focus onto probably in this third phase towards ensuring the open sea lines of communication, making sure that the energy trade would not get hurt for too long, and making sure that their focus stays on the IRGC and weakening the regime's internal control, because we are still hearing about the possibility of a new leader coming and replacing the late leader Khamenei in some way. So they're trying to weaken Iran both politically, economically, and now also in terms of their control over the energy choke points. I mean, looks like the Iranian tactic here is very simple. They are deploying their naval mines, they are deploying their anti-ship missiles, they're trying to make sure that any tanker or any ship that passes through, is checked and is not even allowed to pass through. Basically, they're trying to create a closure. So US and Israeli response, at least as of now, has been that US seems committed to escort a lot of these tankers through the waterway. How they're going to exactly do it, we've heard that the US had already deployed two of its career strike groups, USS Abraham Lincoln and USS Gerald R. Ford. And the idea was that eventually, after making sure that the IRGC loses its control over the Strait of Hormuz, they are able to then take over that waterway and ensure that the energy flows through. But for that, they would probably they are planning to do more airstrikes, specifically ones that would target Iranian naval bases. Very, very close to that strait. So that's one. The second thing is, not just concentrating on what US and Israel are doing. It's also got to do with what is the rest of the region doing in this regard. And by that, I'm talking specifically about the shipping suspensions that have happened, the insurance collapse that has happened, the increase in freight costs, the increase in the risks per se. And we've heard that the OPEC Plus had intervened and said they are going to increase the oil production, though it's very unlikely that just by increasing oil production without the possibility of the oil actually leaving the Gulf would actually in any way help the market. But at least from Saudi Arabia, we are getting the news that they were trying to attempt to divert some of the oil through the East-West pipeline into the Red Sea. The issue here is that if they try to divert it to another route, the other route needs to have the capacity to handle, about 15 million barrels per day that was already moving through the Strait of Hormuz. So, I mean, there are too many choke points, there are too many issues that need resolution, but looks like the US strategy is and would be to continue to attack or to continue to weaken the Iranian stronghold over the strait, and then try and take control of those waterways to ensure that energy trade flows through.
Thank you, Asta. Please don't go too far as